Good evening. The sentence of the state of Florida versus Robert Long was carried out at 6:55 p.m. The execution took place without incident. At this time, we're going to hear from family members of the victims and survivors. I'm going to call each of their names, and they'll have an opportunity to speak with you. The first is Miss Williams.
She's walking.
Okay, she's walking. Okay, I'm going to go with Mr. Cinco. Are you available?
He's right here.
Mr. Cinco, if you want to go first.
Sure.
I'm going to make it real short. I want to spend a special thank you out to Governor Ron DeSantis, Ashley Moody, and any other key player that made this day happen for all of us. It was a game changer. It was a beautiful day. And anybody that is in our shoes in the near future, please stay vigilant. Don't stop until you get it done. Thank you.
Sir, your full name?
Jeffrey Cinco.
You spell Cinco?
Sienko.
Jeffrey with a G or J?
J.
Thank you.
E-R-Y or R-E-Y?
R-E-Y.
Your relationship to Vicky?
Vicky Elliott was my sister. Is my sister. Thank you.
Miss Williams.
My name is Lula Williams. Chanel Williams is my daughter. And we thank God that this day has finally arrived. I'm glad we're here to see that murderer of my daughter put to death. Now, Chanel, who is a loving daughter, kind-hearted sister, loved by her family, along with the other victims, will now have the justice they deserve. And we just want to thank all those who have worked diligently on this case from beginning to end. Those detectives, the courts, the prosecuting attorneys, the state attorney general, and of course the governor's office. Thank all those. And now, after 35 years, we can say we have some peace of mind knowing that justice has been served. Thank you.
Ma'am, was there ever a time where you thought this day wouldn't come?
Yes. Yes, because it was dragging on so long and everything. I didn't really give up, but you have those days.
Can you describe right now how you feel any different, if you feel any different?
I feel much different, yeah.
Can you
Yes,
explain?
We all feel different. Because, like I say, he's not here anymore to inflict pain on me, my family, or any other family. As long as he was living, it was just nothing, peace or anything, no comfort. But now, we can go on, continue to go on, knowing, like I say, justice has been served.
Ma'am, would you have liked to have heard him give an apology or anything there's 26 of you in that room waiting to see this. Did you want to hear anything from him?
I just...
There's really nothing he could say.
Nothing. No, I'm just, like the things went, that was fine with us. It was fine.
Can you tell us a little bit about your loved one? The victims always get lost in this. Can you just describe the life that was lost for all of the family members and how it's been for y'all?
Yeah, go ahead. This is our sister.
This is sister.
This is Algelana.
My sister was a kind person. She was my older sister. She was funny. She would do anything to help someone. She would do anything for anyone. And for something like this to happen to her, regardless of what choices she may have done in the past, she did not deserve this. None of these victims deserve this. So that's the hardest thing about this whole situation, is what these victims went through.
The incident, the execution was without a hitch. Do you wish that he'd suffered more?
Yes.
If I could have had my way, he would have been executed for every person life he's took.
It was too easy. he was too comfortable. You know, just think about what he put his family through, us, the other
Sorry,
family.
can you say that again?
Put us through for all these years, you know, and to see him just lay there and just at peace, you know, just comfort like nothing. No remorse, no anything. No, I would like to have seen more pain. The pain he inflicted that we have in our hearts. I know the other families got pain. And no, I wanted to see him with no pain. That's it.
Ma'am, would you just give us your name, please, and spell it for us?
My name is Algelana Douglas. It's spelled ALGALANADOUGLAS.
And ma'am, are you the older or the younger sister?
I am the younger sister. Yeah, I was 14 when my sister was taken away.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Lisa Rich. I'm Kim Swan's cousin, and I was at the execution. I would like to thank Governor DeSantis for making this happen today. Each of the families have suffered tremendously, and this isn't going to bring any of our loved ones back, but it's going to give us closure. So.
I'm Tammy Casby. Kim Swan is my sister. I witnessed the execution as well. It looked like it went very peacefully for him, and it's finally over. Does anybody have any questions?
What was it like being in a room with so many others who have gone through at least some of what you guys have gone through, all these other folks who have been here?
Pretty emotional, you know, knowing what they're feeling firsthand. It's pretty hard.
Tammy, describe your loss. Kim was taken 4 or 5 years ago. Describe your loss of not having her in your life. You lost your parents who wanted to be here, who weren't able to be here.
Right.
Talk about that.
My parents have both passed and were not able to be here. I was very close with Kim. It's been a major loss having her gone and knowing that she's never going to be here.
35 years is a long time to wait. If he had been sentenced to life, perhaps you may have been able to start healing earlier, but maybe not have that closure. Which would have been better?
The death sentence. Yeah. For
Tammy,
me.
I believe your sister was the last victim, is that correct?
Yes.
Can you take me through what was going on at the time in Tampa Bay? Were people fearful?
Yeah.
Was this something that women were...
Yeah, the general public knew that there was a serial killer at large. And when we found out that my sister was missing, it was horrible, you know, and then finding out that she was a victim, pretty devastating.
Did you ever think it would take this long?
Never. I never thought it would take this long. I don't think he did either. I think he thought he'd probably just sit in prison until he passed away from natural causes. I think he was pretty shocked as well as we were.
So is it, I mean, obviously this is a case where he admitted doing what he did.
Yeah.
And it's still taken this many years to, does it make you think about the process, that why it takes so long in a case like this?
I believe that he took the time to his advantage to learn the laws and know how to manipulate the system. And I think it bought him time.
Would you describe what you're feeling? Is happy the right word?
Not happy, no. Not happy. I know his ex-wife, and she asked me to tell everybody that she's very sorry for everybody's losses. And, you know, obviously she had no part of it. She's a victim as well. She wanted to be here today, but they really couldn't, you know, so she just wanted me to tell people that her heart was with everybody.
I guess they suffered too, I guess. She and Sarah and his family, his children.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We get both your names?
I'm Tammy, she's Lisa.
Lisa Rich.
Lisa Rich.
My name is Linda Nuttall. I was brutally attacked by Bobby Joe Long 35 years ago. And it's ironic because it happened on Memorial Day week, which is coming up. But I am a survivor, and so are my loved ones. My husband, who's been with me throughout this entire ordeal, my children. I've had, and I continue to have, a joyful life, despite also the death of our daughter 9 months after my attack. I've been blessed with a wonderful family and great friends. I'd like to thank all of the law enforcement, all of the detectives, Governor Ron DeSantis. Today, justice was served. Thank you.
Did this moment feel the way you thought it would feel?
There was really no describing how this moment would feel, to be honest. It's just surreal, but it closes another door for me.
Are you one of the victims of the classified ad attack?
Yes, I am, in Pinellas County. That's correct.
How has it affected your trust? I mean, clearly you were doing just something that either trying to sell something and
That's
let
correct.
someone into your home. Has it affected your trust of strangers?
It has. It took quite a while to get beyond it, but I have. But I will always have that in my mind, and it's difficult. It's been very difficult.
What was it like to see him again and know you were in the same sort of spaces?
Mm-hmm. It was hard, but I was good with that. I was good that he's meeting his maker.
It's heartening to
Thank
hear you say that you've lived a joyful life. Do you feel
Thank you.
that joy, in some way, you need to do that to represent some of the women who didn't have a chance to live there?
Yes, and absolutely. I would love to represent those and those victims that did not survive, because I know how lucky I was.
Can you spell your name for us, please?
Certainly, it's Linda, Linda. Last name is Nuttall, Nuttall.
How old were you when you were attacked?
I was 33.
What year was it?
That was 1984. Mm-hmm.
Linda, did it give you comfort seeing? Sorry, I'm in the back. Did it, all the. I mean, you see all these victims, family members, and survivors like Lisa Nolan. Was there any comfort being in the same room with all of the folks that were watching him die? That you had strength in numbers per se?
Absolutely, yes.
Can you talk about that?
Yes, no, it was comforting that we could all be together for this.
Did you all have relationships before this outside? Did any survivors, anybody communicate?
Lisa and I have become friends.
So you have someone else that went through it that you can talk to?
Absolutely, yes.
You know why, he killed all these women and he didn't murder you?
I don't know exactly why. I had 2 small children in my home, with me at the same time. I'm not sure. Maybe that was it. I don't know.
What is it you were selling?
We put an ad in the paper to sell some furniture.
Will you get some sleep tonight?
I think I will. Yes, I think I will. Absolutely. And my husband, Kevin,
Yeah.
would like
and
to say.
To answer your question too, on his methods were, 1984 was a much different world, and we innocently did have an ad. Nobody even knew that he existed. And it was placed on a Saturday, Sunday when we would be home. It was Memorial Day weekend. And obviously his methods were to, as we found out the hard way, calls on a Wednesday, Thursday, or whatever to gain entry. The other reply, I feel too, having our 4-year-old son and our 1-year-old daughter, who was actually critically ill at the time, maybe he had some slight compassion, I don't know, but maybe the circumstances, for whatever reason, I'm very thankful. And this is, like Linda said, a 35-year, I won't call it an anniversary because that's too pleasant. Behind that, she and I will also have our 45-year wedding anniversary in about 4 weeks. So we've both endured. She's been the rock. She's strong. She's the strong one in our family. But I had a few things just jotted down, just brief thoughts. For me, there's always people will ask about closure. To me, this is for myself, as a family victim, the closure isn't really here for me. My closure came, our event happened in May of '84. As you know, he wasn't caught until November. Those were the longest, count them, I don't know, 6 months of our lives. We moved out of our home, we moved 4 or 5 times, there was just so much. But I was going to say November 16th of '84, that's the day that everybody remembers, the victims of Bobby Joe Long. That day of his arrest, then no one else, I knew right then he would never be released and there would be no more victims by him. And that's the day that helped start my self-healing. And thanks to Lisa and her tactical force and her help, that was the best that anybody could wish for, because if you could imagine if he just left the state and kept going, to live like that you couldn't even, I think we probably may not have survived unless he was captured. Capturing, we could pick ourselves up, keep going. Like Linda said, in our case, we had a 4-year-old son, a 1-year-old daughter. She was critically ill. We had other things that we had to handle. We had time to start healing, but we weren't given that opportunity. We had other more critical things to deal with. Our daughter, about 9 months after that attack, ended up passing away as a serious illness. But anyway, I was just going to say that 35 years later, especially if you live in Tampa Bay, there's a saying there, it's a new day in Tampa Bay, and that's how I feel about today. And when I look at life all these years, it's precious and fleeting at the same time. So everyone should just continue to embrace your family, your friends every day. Enjoy life, and that's what we did. It wasn't overnight. It took years. Her strength kept us going, and the fact that I know we have had a joyful life, why Bobby Joe Long was where he was, and we're the same age practically. So in one hand, he got what he deserved. Today's just another chapter. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Susan Smith, and I've been asked to read a statement from the family of Karen Dinsfriend, Dinsfriend. The life of Karen Dinsfriend was cut short, no matter what kind of life it was. Her choice to finish her life and make new decisions was halted because of someone else who was selfish and foolish, sick and wrong. One life will never make up for another and will never be an equalizer. If conversations about mental health and getting help happened 30 years ago, we might be in a different place. We wouldn't be reading statements about death and dying and hurt and anger, and for some, hopefully, forgiveness. We wouldn't be wondering what life would be like before it all happened. It does not soothe my soul to know that he was executed. He will now be at peace for knowing the kind of monster he is. Hopefully this will help some sleep well and feel a sense of justice and closure. It does, however, put an end to a chapter of this story. For us and our family, we can close the book and try to heal and learn from the past. To the survivors of this tragic event, this family says thank you for fighting and staying strong. Please spread the word and educate young females of the future. Also that you are wished peace and well-being on the rest of your journey. With regard, the Dinsfriends. Thank you.
Your name again, ma'am?
Susan Smith.
And what's your relation to the family?
I am the victim advocate in the governor's office.
Come on, crew. So what? Good evening. Wow, bright light. I'm Lisa McVeigh Nolan. I have a victim statement to write, or to read, I'm sorry. A little nervous, not used to being in front of all these cameras all at one time. It's a little lengthy, so bear with me. I just want to give credit to God, first and foremost, who saved my life 35 years ago. I'm going to dedicate and in honor of the memory of the victims, our 10 angels who can't be here today to witness the execution of Bobby Jalong. So in memory and honor of the victims, Artis Wick, Lana Long, Michelle Denise Sims, Chanel Williams, Elizabeth Loudenbach, Karen Disfriend, Vicki Elliott, Kimberly Hops, Virginia Johnson, and Kimberly Swan. I'd like to take a moment to remember and honor the victims who never got the chance to be here today to witness the execution of Bobby Jalong. I'd also like to take a moment to remember the victims who were viciously attacked in their own homes at the hands of Bobby Jalong. In the early hours of November 3rd, 1984, I was snatched off my bicycle and brutally attacked by Bobby Jalong while riding home from work. Bobby Jalong pressed a gun with the tip of its cold steel barrel against my left temple before dragging me to his car. I vowed from that moment on to save my own life. Bobby Jalong kidnapped me and held me hostage for the next 26 hours. I was brutally raped and tortured. I believed him. He told me he would kill me if I tried to ever escape. I didn't think I would live or ever see my family again. However, the early hours of November 4th, 1984, Bobby Jalong released me. I promised myself I would never live as a victim. I would empower myself with strength and courage to conquer my life's tragedies. Sorry. I made a lifetime commitment to educate people by speaking about how I survived my attack from a notorious serial killer and the abuse I endured as a child. I aspirated myself a long time ago to make it my obligation to be the voices of the women's lives he took too soon. Today, as I stand before God, the victims, and the families of the victims, I vow to carry on and be their voice. Again, I ask everyone, please remember the victims who were taken too soon. Each and every victim's name will be forever embossed in my heart. I will never forget any of them. Even though I didn't know these women, we had one common denominator, and that was you, Bobby Jalong. Bobby Jalong, people ask me what I would say to you if you were standing in front of me, and here's my answer. Bobby Jalong, thank you. Thank you for choosing me instead of another 17-year-old little girl. The reason why I say thank you now is because I have forgiven you for what you have done to me. Had I not forgiven you, I might as well be in my own prison without walls. God has shown me the only way to really be free when someone bestows injustice against you is complete forgiveness. My life changed forever and for the better. I chose not to remain a victim. I chose to live. To Cindy, Sarah, and Chris, his ex-wife, his daughter, and son, My prayers go out to all of you. I can't even imagine what all of you had to endure as a family throughout the last 35 years. God bless all of you. I would also like to thank Vicki Elliott's family for they inundated the governor's office with your telephone calls, emails throughout the years in hopes for Lady's Justice to swing her sword. I hope this brings your family and the other remaining victims' families closure and peace. I end my statement with one more thing, Bobby DeLong, to hear me loud and clear. Hear my roaring voice. May God have mercy on your soul. Long overdue. So, I'm willing to answer questions if you want. If not, I can step down. So,
Lisa, does the world feel different to you at this moment than it did now that Bobby Joe Long is gone?
again, Lloyd, he's my top-notch person I can be interviewing with. We spoke about this many times. The peace that that came over me is a remarkable feeling, knowing that again, justice not only has been served, but it now has been completed. So it feels a little different.
What were your thoughts when that screen came up and you saw him?
I wanted to look him in the eye. I wanted to be the first person he saw. Unfortunately, he didn't open his eyes. I didn't expect nothing less of him to apologize or anything like that, or even speak. And his last words was he didn't have any last words. I felt comforted. It was very comforting for me to know that this was actually happening. To be honest, it's been a long time coming.
Was there an emotional rush when you got out of that room? And
I have to. Yes, I have to say that when I did exit the room, I did start to cry. It's healing, peace. It just overwhelmed me all at once. So.
Lisa, what do those two words mean to you? Long overdue.
Long means his last name, and overdue. He should have been, executed a long time ago. And that's what it means to me.
Did you think the way that he died was too easy, too peaceful?
I'd rather not comment on that, please. Yes.
Do you see a means to change the process, or where the process can be speeded up to lower the time between conviction and sentencing and the death sentence being carried out?
I don't have an answer for that either. I'm sorry.
You must have asked yourself many times over the last 35 years, why did he let you go?
I think I had endured so much child abuse in my back from the age 2 to 17, off and on, horrific abuse. I think that I still, after everything I've been through, I still had compassion in my heart. I still treat him like I was a human being. Even though he was doing horrific things to me, I was still a human being, and I want him to show him that I was still a very compassionate human being.
You feel like that saved your life?
Absolutely. Yes, I do.
Did you stop by your tree on the way here?
Funny you ask. No. However, I did stop at my tree last week and took some pictures. And I also might sound a little wacky, I don't know, but I hugged my tree. And I thank God that I'm able to stand there and hug my tree. I know, I'm a tree hugger, I guess you could say, so, technically. So, but it makes me feel, when I'm having a bad day, sometimes I just go off to my tree and I'll sit under the tree for a while and just think and just pray. That was the very first thing after my release, is what I saw when I put my blindfold down, was this beautiful oak tree. And it just meant, that oak tree means so much to me. I mean, eventually I like to get a marker put there with the victims' names on it and make sure we can dedicate that tree to the families and the victims of the family.
I know you said that if you could have said something to him, it was thank you for choosing me.
Yes.
I also know that you were contemplating suicide before he snatched you. In some way, did this experience also save your life as well as potential future victims?
God has humor, right? So he showed me that I wasn't going to take my own life. At the age of 17, prior to going to work on November 2nd, I did sit down and write my own suicide note. I was tired of being raped by my grandmother's boyfriend for 3 years. I endured a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of beatings. I was done with life, and I didn't want anybody else to take my life. But inadvertently, I'm unfortunate, met Bobby Joe Long, and the two horrific ordeals ended up saving my life. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful, and I'm forever blessed for that.
You somehow maintained a sense of humor in these years.
Yes, yes. I do work for the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. I've been there for 20 years. If it wasn't these two guys here, retired Sergeant Larry Pinkerton, retired from Tampa Police Department, yes. Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, retired Sergeant Steve Cribb. They have been my rock through everything for 35 years. Thank you. Thank you. So, and thank you to the victims' families who attended today, and it meant a lot to me. First thing I said, we got back to the training centers, we did it. We did it as a whole, we did it as a group, and now we're all family. I want you to know that my home is your home, and I would hope you feel the same way. So, yeah. I have no ill will towards Bobby Geelong. I have no ill will towards his family. I want to make sure I get that on the record. Forgiveness is a very powerful tool. It's pretty awesome.
So now that this is over, and obviously you come and met us, are you going straight back to Tampa tonight? And either way, how are you going to spend the rest of the evening once we're all gone? And
actually, I went and got a hotel. I'm going to head back to my hotel, and I've got another day of stay there tomorrow and take some time for Lisa. It's time to start taking care of myself, and that's what I'm going to be planning to do. Spend some time with the families before they go back to their homes, and I just need time to myself to regroup, before I go back to work. So the good thing is I got 5 days off, so yes, with the holiday, so that's my plan to do.
Is this the first time that all the families are together with us?
Most of them, I think some of the families aren't here. They might have passed away or something. I'm not real sure. I haven't gathered that information. But I can say this, the most important ones are here. They stood beside me the whole time. They fought diligently, to get this death warrant signed. And I got to be honest, this darn Mike, I'm sorry, whoever this is. April 23rd, 2:50, when I received the phone call from Tallahassee, I was normal routine in my school, and I was chewing a girl out. I'm sorry. I had it on speakerphone because I kept getting this phone call from area code 850. I don't know what 850 is. And I finally answered on speakerphone. And I said, hello. And a sweet little voice came on. I won't mention her name. Well, okay, I will. Miss Susan Smith. She had the sweetest voice, softest voice. And she goes, is this Lisa McVeigh? No, Lauren. I was like, yes, it is. But let me go to my office. When she said that, I knew something was up. And as soon as I closed my door, she told me that Governor Ron DeSantis signed the death warrant not even 2 minutes after she called me. And she told me that I was the first person they needed to call. My reaction was I started crying. I think the crying just came from all those years of relief. And then it became surreal. Is this real? How many more appeals is he going to get? Where were the victims' appeals when he murdered them? And I have fought valiantly. Larry and Steve both know I fought valiantly with my agency, with the Tallahassee, trying to get this death warrant signed, and now it's here, and I'm pretty happy about it. So it's been a long road. Long road. Anything else? We're good?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night, okay? Thank you for coming.